Yo, what is going on? Harvey Lehman's here, and today I have a special one because this is my first video in a long time, and I'm so glad to be doing this again just because I used to create content on Facebook a lot, and I was getting a lot of good traction from it, and I stopped because I got focused on other things, and then I just ended up just stopped being consistent. So it brings me back to this principle that I'm living by right now, especially when it comes to marketing. Well, specifically when it comes to marketing, it's the idea of distribution is key, and this is an idea or a concept that I'm starting to really master, and I'm really starting to understand it as I get older. I'm really starting to understand why distribution is everything. And if you don't have good distribution, then you aren't going to have enough attention so you can validate if your product or service is actually good. So, what is distribution? And in this video, what you're going to find out are what distribution is and why it's key, and then the three things that I feel like is a byproduct of keeping distribution top of mind. So distribution is your access to distribute your content, your product or service, or whatever you're trying to, disseminate, right? Whatever you're trying to get out to the masses, your ability to make the decision that you're going to, I don't even know how to say that, disseminate to get this idea out there. And then how much access can you do that overnight or within a phone call? How many people can you get in front of? How is it actually presented? And this idea of distribution has made me realize that because we have Google and we have Facebook and we have Instagram, now you can just get unlimited distribution with a couple of dollars. However, there's other forms of distribution. You don't just have to give a dollar to get the ad platforms to show your stuff. You can also do this in forms of relationships. You can do this in so many different forms, and it gets my brain working because I'm like, how can I be creative and getting distribution for free? And how can I do this in better ways, right? So why is distribution key, and why, if you're a business owner or if you own a service or a product, like this should be the only thing that you think about, is because essentially if you think of a funnel, right, and I'm sure you've seen the funnel, the stupid little funnel that we all see as marketers. It's like the more people you get to the top, the more people you can funnel down. But as one of my marketing coaches says, like, that's not how it works in with humans. Maybe that's how it works with gas or with oil. If you're doing an oil change and you put the oil at the top of the funnel, it's going to drip down because of gravity. However, when it comes to humans and psychology, it doesn't. That analogy isn't accurate, because when you come to drip the oil, as when we're speaking in the human sense, there's so many things blocking that oil from actually dripping down, and a lot of that is people's beliefs. It's their desires, and there's so many different stories that they're telling themselves that it doesn't allow the oil just to slip down the funnel just like that. So that's why you need to master distribution, because if you have proper distribution, then you know how to get that oil to flow down the funnel in a frictionless way. And as I was making content and on my Facebook and on my YouTube when I used to go live, there's three things that always come to me when it comes to having good distribution and having it in a way that it's like consistent and doing it in a way that I enjoy it. There's three things, right, I want to talk about. First of all is consistent content, right? If your content isn't consistent, then it's just people are gonna forget about you, and you're gonna have to do bigger launches, and you're gonna have to do bigger awareness campaigns for people to be like, oh snap, like I remember about this person. Even though you don't need consistent content, it's important to have consistent content. And then the second thing is a hate love and relationship with content, and this is more of a personal one. And then the third one is effort is needed, right? And I'm going to talk about some stories that I used to do just to get my content out, and it's kind of funny. But the first one is consistent content. So it's like you don't need to be consistent with your content if you just have good content, and then I call this like a content hub. If you have the necessary pieces of content, then you don't really need to be consistent, because you have like they say, the MVP, right? The minimum viable product. You have the minimum necessary amounts of content that is needed to show your prospect for them to get them to know, like, and trust you. If you have your minimum viable content, your content hub, then you don't need to be consistent. You just need to make it once and make it good. Make it in a way that actually answers all their limiting beliefs, their false beliefs, combats their stories that they're telling themselves. And yeah, so you don't really need consistent content. However, I believe in consistent content, because when you get consistent content, one, content becomes fun, right? And if you can become consistent with content, you have a way of like providing value to others that is away from money. And I think nowadays when people ask me to hang out, I'm always trying to get something from it. I'm not just trying to go and like waste time for 2 hours and just like sip coffee. Now I'm either making it content, or we're making it like a session where someone gets some type of value. And this is why I love consistent content, because once you're able to make content consistently, like, people are so caught up in the likes and the views, and who sees this, and do I look stupid? Does my hair look good? Or or what am I wearing? And it's just so stupid. Like, content isn't supposed to be a music video where you got one music video and it has a billion views. That's actually not the purpose of content. And I've always just seen people like get caught up in that. It's like, oh, I'm not getting enough views, I'm not getting enough likes, and all that stuff, like they say, it's vanity. Like it don't really matter. It's more about your ability to be consistent with your content. Like I know people who don't really get that many likes per post. They probably get like 70 to 100 likes, but they're constantly uploading. And if you were to look at this person's impressions and their reach for the month versus the person who's just focused on having like that one really good piece, this person who just posts consistently and gets less likes, gets less engagements, gets less comments, they get way more people looking at their stuff and they get way more attention than the person who's just focused on having like the perfect content from the get-go. Because there's no such thing as perfect content. It's just a matter of being consistent with your content. So that's why I believe in consistent content. I don't really believe in like having like the beautiful, like you got like your 7 pieces and they all look good from the outside. However, when it comes to like a volume, when it comes to the quantity game, you're actually doing a lot less and you're performing way less. I got that from like Grant Cardone. He says like post 10 times a day, and that's so true. It's like you should be posting a lot more, because if you post a lot more, there's just more opportunities for you, your the algorithm to like to promote you, and it's genius, to be honest. Anyway, second is hate and love with content. So uh so it's so easy to not like to do content. Why? Because you actually have to get good with technology, and then you have to upload a software, and then you have to record, and you have to figure out what to say, and then you have to figure out how you look, and then you have to actually like work on your communication skills, and then you actually have to it's just, there's so many steps that lead to us having content in general, and it's so easy not to do it. It's so easy not to show your face and to try to go the faceless route, and to not just to not do it, right? It's so easy. And on the other side of the duality, there's like a love for it. And there's a quote that I just love by the army. They say like pain is weakness leaving the body. I just love that quote like with passion, because it's just whatever is painful, it's not because it's painful, it's just because you're weak. So you don't really want to strive or pray for less pain. You want to strive for more strength. And yeah, you want to strive for more strength. And I think that idea just makes me love content even more, because by you creating content, you're just creating a bigger moat. You're separating yourself away from your peers. And if you stop looking at content as something that I'm going to do just to get like by this year, and just start making it a habit, just like you brush your teeth, of I'm going to do this for the rest of my life and I don't really see myself stopping, and you can just accept that and really just really settle into that idea and that belief and that identity of like, I'm just going to do this forever. And it gets so much better. It gets so much rewarding, and it becomes a way of you venting. It becomes a way of you reflecting and actually getting smarter, because you're going to have to communicate your thoughts, and you actually have to teach it. And I think that has been so powerful. And I do this on a daily basis on my audio notes. And now I'm just thinking of like, how could I take all that information now when I'm in my bedroom, or I'm like, I get out the shower just to grab my phone just to record audio note, because I don't want the idea to leave my head. And I'm like, all right, how can I use that and like make it into something that's like content, and how I can use it to to educate, to entertain, or to inspire. And yeah, and it's just, that's why I just love content, because it's so powerful. And I think when you really start to enjoy it and start making it a part of you, you really start to reap the benefits like really fast. And you really don't understand how powerful the benefits are until you actually start applying it, because it's so easy to say, oh, it makes you smarter and blah blah blah, but once you start doing it, and then you're in real life and you're going through things, you're like, oh snap, like I actually just spoke about this in my 3 videos ago. So like it's so much fresh, and it's so much fresher in your mind, because you actually had to teach it and communicate it, rather than if you've never done that and then now you're just trying to like remember from a book you read or something, like you've seen someone do it. It's just, you're just not as effective with that idea. But lastly, effort is needed. So the thing is like, it's hard to do things that require multi steps, and to require to put yourself and make yourself vulnerable. And yeah, it's effort. And anytime something takes effort, just like there's this book called The Slight Edge, somewhere back there, it's like, it's easy to do. This book, easy to do, easy not to do, right? And you can see that like this book is torn apart because it's so old, and I've read it like multiple times, but it's easy to do, easy not to do. And I think the beauty in understanding that something is easy not to do is that you could easily slack off, but you could easily just do it and then get it over with. And that's why effort is the reason why most people just don't get to where they want, because they experience the pain of the effort before they even engage in it, and then they're like, yeah, nah, it's not for me. And that's why most people don't get to where they want to go, is because they can't build a habit, and they can't just do the things that are easy to do, because just as something is easy to do, it's easy not to do it. So yeah, that is me on distribution, and this is something that I'm working on every day, getting better at. And yeah, I think for the next 50 years, like, or however long I live, it's just a matter of fact of like getting better distribution and being a master at that. Because if you look at the celebrities, If you look at the biggest movies of all time, if you look at the biggest artists, if you look at the people who are at the top, right, they just have the best distribution. Brad Pitt isn't behind the scenes focused on distributing his own movies. It's like there's a team there for it, and there's typically a master, like a genius behind the scenes who's like making it happen. And that's my goal. I want to be that genius who like makes it happen. So, yeah. So distribution is key, and if you're not focusing on your distribution through ads, through good relationships, through JVs, through partnerships, through any type of method like direct mail or whatever type of method you're using to acquire to acquire new customers, then you got to get on that. So talk to me.